Okay, hey everyone. This is a breakdown of Ezekiel Elliot, the running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Wanted to do an acceleration video today, and we're just looking through some receivers, some running backs, different guys, and really liked what we're able to find with Ezekiel here, and I think it applies to really a wide range of different types of athletes. The big thing that we are able to see is really the strength that is required in order to create a lot of speed and a lot of acceleration. So one of the big things that stand out to me about Zeke is really when he starts out, he has a very leaned over trunk position. And this helps in driving, and some of the key things we're going to go over are some of the mechanics that go into creating a lot of acceleration, creating a lot of speed, and then also some of the key areas that need to be strong when you're creating large amounts of acceleration and speed. So when he's going through the movement, he's in that bent over position. That really makes it so he pushes off really hard, gets that great knee extension right there in order to really push that opposite leg forward. And so he's using that press of the right leg to drive the rest of his body through, which is really good. And what he's doing here is, and we can't really see it as much, but when he first starts, he lets out this very loud exhale, and this allows him to really hold within his diaphragm and midsection a lot. So what he is doing is really creating a lot of inner abdominal pressure, which is very, very important for the way that he runs. And we can see he's continuing to go and push through each one of these steps and creating a large amount of knee extension in order to drive that opposite leg forward. And that's really the key point that is very important, is what you want to be able to push off and get that opposite knee to the heel here. So you can see as he's pushing off with his left leg now here, this right heel is going to be really close to his butt, and he wants to hold that through as long as he can as he pushes off, and this makes it so he can get as much stride length as he can. And at the beginning stages, and you can go back and forth really on this, certain guys are going to need more of, they're going to want to address more of the stride length. Other guys are going to want to address more of stride frequency. What I'm sure Ezekiel Elliott wanted to work on was stride length because of how quick his feet already were. And so what he's doing in order to try to create a larger amount of stride length is really trying to hold that heel to the butt, and that's what really allows you to do that. So now as he gets up to about the 10-yard mark, his trunk is starting to come up, and now he's really able to get into that full sprint where he's bringing that knee up to the hip there and creating a large amount of really the top end speed. So I'm going to go through the rest of that. The video here is really going to be primarily on acceleration. So what we're looking at, and why one of the things that what makes Ezekiel Elliott such a rare guy is he is able to create such a large amount of rotational force in his upper body while maintaining a very, very controlled pelvis. Okay, so what we're seeing as we're going through, and I'll actually go backwards here as well, you can see how his arms are very, very side to side. Mostly when you're doing this, I mean, some of the top track athletes, they're not getting their arms that far out. And the reason why is because it's just inefficient in your ability to create force, but they're not running backs. So what Ezekiel Elliott's able to do is he's able to compensate for that because of how big his legs are, as well as his ability to create that intra-abdominal pressure or holding his breath. So he's creating a lot of force within the inside part of his core there to make it so his hips and legs aren't getting too far off the path. So what would happen with your arms going so far out like this is your hips would start to flail all over the place, your legs would start to flail all over the place, would make you inefficient in each one of your steps. But what he's able to do, because he has so much strength in his core and in his legs, he's able to maintain a very, very straight position within each one of his steps because of how much, again, core strength and hip strength he has. So he's not losing very much efficiency with his legs, but he's gaining a lot of power because of how much he's using that rotation within that upper body and in his spine. So that's how he's able to create a large amount of rotation and acceleration. And I also believe that's one of the reasons why when he's moving he has such a great ability to be able to like run through defenders is he has a very, very expanded midsection, so he's able to hold his breath for a long period of time while he's going through this movement. If we look to see, there's one where he's looking kind of straight at him here. You could see how much he's holding his breath through this whole thing. Again, that's him creating that large amount of intra-abdominal pressure while he's going through the movement. So his diaphragm is on this whole time as he's sprinting, which is making it so he's not losing the lateral stability within the core. So, and again, these videos are really just to give you some more information about how to create larger amounts of force. So he's a very, very strong rotational athlete, which is what creates a lot of power, and he's very, very good linearly or straight ahead, which is what creates speed. What the lateral part of the body is really supposed to do, or the side part of the body is supposed to create stability. And so while I don't think he lacks strength in his lateral stability, I think his ability to create so much torque and power within both the straight ahead linear plane as well as in the rotational plane makes it so he compensates with having even a greater amount of lateral stability with the diaphragm rib cage. And a lot of people will go and talk about how you don't want to create, you don't want to hold your breath too much when you're working out because of the dysfunction that causes. But for Zeke here, you can see that it's actually causing a lot of benefit for him and being able to stop overly rotating within the midsection and the lower part of the core. So the big message to understand here is that we need to be able to create that lateral stability within the core in order to be able to create large amounts of speed as well as large amounts of acceleration, or be very effective at it. And so building the muscles on the outside part of the core, as well as being creative with things like breath and diaphragm and training certain types of muscles, are going to be very instrumental in being able to be as fast as you possibly can. Okay, and another thing that you could see here is he creates a lot of rotation within his hips as he's getting going, especially with that left hip. He comes around a lot with that left hip, which is something that we'll see commonly where you'll be one side dominant here, and he's able to get away with it just because of his ability to compensate with that how he holds his breath in the diaphragm. One thing I wanted to show is I think that if there was any risk for Zeke, it would be in his ability to lift up that knee. So when he's running his right leg, he gets a very good knee lift and he gets really good extension with that right leg. But then when he goes to his left one, it's a little bit more stiff. His knee doesn't come up as high and he doesn't extend as well with that knee. So I'd say that looking into the symmetry of your body, he might be a little bit at risk, especially because that left hip moves a little bit differently, and that left leg extends a little bit differently or doesn't have as much extension. I'd say you might have some risk for some type of hamstring problems on the left side just because of limited range of motion within those muscles. And so I just want to throw that out there just for looking into different types of injury risks, and again being as symmetrical as possible. That left knee not being as high, that would be a red flag for me for saying, okay, let's look a little bit more into that and let's make it so we can get you as symmetrical as you can, and maybe look into what are some of the things that we can address through the core and hips. So we just wanted to give you some information about creating acceleration, how to be strong, how to be functional with being strong, what parts of movement that we're trying to look into in order to develop the best overall athletes, both from a performance standpoint as well as minimizing the risk of injury. So thanks for watching. We're going to continue to make breakdowns videos here. We're going to start getting into the jump a little bit as well to show you how some of these top athletes are able to create such a great amount of force during their vertical jumps. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thanks for watching.